Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to RMVXACE, the tutorial series. I'm very happy to announce that RPGmaker.net has put this tutorial series on their front page. Unfortunately, it is the first episode, which I personally feel is my weakest, and that only makes sense because it's the first one I did, which also makes sense for them to choose that one to put on because you start at the beginning and then, yeah. Okay, anyway, that was exciting news, and this will be one of the shorter episodes. Today we'll be talking about weapons and armor, and they're very simple to work with, really. It's one of the easiest parts of the game, and so today I'll add a little bit extra to the episode, just so the episode has some meat to it. Today I'm going to teach you how to make a new map and how to place items, weapons, and armor on that map. So, first of all, we're going to go into the database, and that's right here. We've seen this before, and you're going to go to the weapons tab. So the first thing that we see down the left hand side, just like in the items tab, in the skills tab, is everything that's available to you, everything that's already created by RPG Maker that comes with it when you get the product. So these are very clearly all weapons. We are in the weapon tab, so that makes sense. And taking a look at just the hand axe, for instance, in the name box is the name of the weapon, and that's pretty straightforward. You can name it whatever you like. And over here is the icon. It is what the player will see in their menu when they are trying to equip the item. And some scripts will have these icons pop up when the player picks the weapon up. But we'll talk about scripts and add-ons later. But yeah, so you can pick whatever you like. There's a couple of different things that come with RPG Maker VXACE. And to be honest, it's actually even better than the previous RPG Maker engines. You've got more choices for sure. Much bigger icon set. But anyway, and then in the description, with the actors I talked about the description, and yes, this does show up if you go into certain menus within the screen, within the game, I mean. And the same with weapons. When you enter this into the description box, the player will see this when he hovers his cursor over the item. So it's not the same as the note box. This will show up to the player in several different locations, in your shops and in your menus and equip screens, things like that. So make sure this is something you want the player to see, and choose your words wisely. And they actually spelt axe wrong, which is funny to me. Oi. Anyway, in the weapon type, this is what you've seen before. It's the same as, I guess, skill type. When you can assign a type to a skill, you assign a type to a weapon, and we spoke about this before. You have your different types of weapons here, and if your fantastic brain can think of a type of weapon that does not exist in this tab, you can go over to the Terms tab over here, and over in Weapons Types, you can click in a blank space. If there are no blanks available, you change maximum and increase. You see this from 10 to 11, and you'll get an extra space, and you can type in refrigerator. So now you can swing refrigerators at your friends, and it shows up in the weapons type. So this is a refrigerator, and I don't have an icon that represents a fridge very well. I don't see anything in there, to be honest. Okay, so our fridge looks like an axe for now, and in the animation tab, that is the same as skills. So what is it going to look like when this is swung at your opponent? When your enemy is hit with this attack, what will it look like? And right now we see /physical in the blank. That is animation number 7. We go over to the animation tab and we can see what number 7 looks like. So if we go down onto the left hand side, /physical is number 7. Click on that and we click play. That is what it looks like when you hit him with a refrigerator. Anyway, so you can pick whatever you like. You know, you can do whatever you want. It's a very cool animation. There's tons of stuff in here, so just take a browse. Holy /hit special. What's this got? Awesome. Awesome, awesome. So anyway, we're gonna not change the animation of the axe. I just wanted to show you how to do that. And we're gonna put this back in axe type. We don't need refrigerators. And if you remember correctly from previous episodes, the weapon type is important because your actor can only use the types of weapons that you specify. So you'd have to go into your actor, double click on features, equip, and specify the axe. Equip weapon type axe in order for him to use this axe. You can also specify that in the class, so every actor of the same class can use the same weapons, but the actor feature list is to designate differences between actors of the same class. So back to the weapons tab. Animation we've covered. Price is whatever you like. I don't usually set prices until I've played my game a little bit. I like to put my enemies in, put a couple quests in, make all the weapons kind of, you know, free up until a certain point, and just play my own game and see how much money I have, and that lets me judge how much things should cost. And then I enter my prices later. It gives me a good idea of what is fair, what is hard enough to be interesting but not too easy to be boring. You know, it gives you balance. In the parameter changes, of course, hopping over to the classes tab, these are your parameters. We've talked about these before. Maximum HP, maximum MP, attack, defense, maximum magic attack, magic defense, agility, and luck. If we go back to the weapons tab, these are right here as well, all those things I just mentioned. And equipping a weapon can increase those parameters. So if you want to increase your actor's attack when he has this weapon on, you can do so, obviously. Now the numbers in these boxes are only increases. I don't know if you can actually put a decrease. You can. So equipping this weapon can actually decrease his defense as well. Okay. So these are only changes. These it doesn't set his attack to 15 and the rest of his stats to 0. It increases his attack by 15, and that's important. So I want you guys to know that. So you can do whatever you like with these. It is an axe, so I don't imagine it's going to do much for his magic abilities, unless it was an enchanted axe, but it looks pretty normal to me. Over in the features tab, it's a lot like features in classes and actors. You can adjust a lot of the same things. You see it looks very similar. I love this features tab, to be honest. I'm used to using RPG Maker VX, and like I said, it's not the same as VXACE, and VX did not have this features tab at all, but VXACE does, and I'm quite pleased with it. But anyway, attack element, that's deciding what type of hit the weapon is, and you can assign different elements to the you can assign an element to your axe or leave it as physical. Okay, even physical counts as an item in the tabs, but it's plain. It's not really an element. It's just in the same category. So it's like none. It's the same as none. It's just physical, regular attack. And then you have your fire, your ice, thunder, water, earth, and all the other good stuff. Now, you might wonder what that does. And to be honest, it doesn't do anything that you don't tell it to. So those elements don't do anything right now. Just pretend they're just names. They're just like weapon type for now. They're just statuses, labels. No effects are involved right now. Okay? So remember that. Right now we're seeing X parameter on here, and that means that it's an extra parameter, remember, and that consists of several things that aren't in the regular parameters. We're looking at hit rating, evasion rating, critical rating, critical evasion, magical evasion, magic reflect, counter attack, and so on and so forth. This is health regeneration, magic regeneration, and TP regeneration. So we're seeing a hit rate decrease of 10%, and that's built right into the hand axe from the start. I did not add that. And what that's saying is, I guess they're saying the axe is heavy, it's awkward, it's not a very well crafted axe, and so it's hard to swing around accurately, so you're looking at a 10% decrease in hit rating. And it's heavy, it's slow in lumbering, so we're seeing an attack speed decrease of 5 as well. And we can change that, obviously. We can go in there and change that number to whatever we want. And we can add things all day long. We can say that equipping this axe also lets us equip a new type of armor. If you had this axe in your hand, suddenly you are able to wear heavy armors. We can do interesting things like that, but we won't for now. I just wanted to show you that that's an option. But definitely go through here and see all the different options that are available to you. Same thing. Really get to know those features, okay? If you have any questions about what any of the features do, please ask in the comment section below. So that's basically the weapons tab. It's really simple. There's the note box, of course, but that doesn't matter. Anything can go in there, and your player will not see it unless you have some sort of wacky script that does that. But right now the notes is just for you. So that's weapons. Armor is identical, okay? Almost identical. So right now we'll look at hard leather armor for now, and in the name, hard leather. Here's the icon, what it looks like. Okay, that's the one they picked. I like this one for hard leather. We'll go with this one. It looks much more leathery, okay? And it's a hardened leather vest. That's the description. That's what the player will see. And I'm going to say this is not as cool as a fridge, but it's leather, and that's awesome. It's the swanky thing your dad would wear to impress your mum. So anyway, armor type is general armor, and once again, armor type, just like weapon type, you need to know what the armor type of your armor is so that you can go into your classes or your actors and say equip armor type and say general armor, or the one you're trying to equip. Remember that, or your player will not be able to see it in his inventory when he's trying to equip, okay? So the equip type, you've seen armor type, that's general armor or whatever you like, and once again you can specify in the terms what type of armors there are. They're right here, and those don't do anything until you make them do something, so don't worry about that. All they do is choose how what armors are equipable by who. That's all they're for right now. You can make it do so much more, but at the start that's all they do. So equip type is what slot, what part of your body this can be equipped to. Now, by default, without any wacky scripts, you can only equip one item to each slot. And by slot I mean chest, head. Look, these are what's available to you. Shield, head, body, or accessory. Now, accessory generally means something like a ring or necklace or an anklet or a wristband, something like that. And of course you can make more equip types, I think. Of course not. There's the equip type box. You can change what they're called. It looks like you do have a maximum here. You can't increase the maximum like the other boxes, but here you do have a maximum. I'm sure there are scripts out there, and we'll look into it to see if you can increase the amount of equip types available to you. I'm almost positive there's one out there. If there's not, maybe we'll make one. But anyway, let's go back over to the armor tab. That's the body type. So yeah, you got to pick where it's going to go, and since this is hard leather, that can be a stylish accessory for your willy, or it can be body armor, but we're going to make it body armor, and it's worth 5k, and you can change that later in the game if you decide that that's too much or too little. And we look at the features here. We're seeing an evasion adjustment of 0. I'm not sure why they would put that in. Why bother? plus 0%. So this is an increase of 0%. That seems rather trivial to me. If somebody knows why that's there by default, please let me know. But honestly, I don't know why. It doesn't make sense to me. I think maybe they're just kind of showing you that you can do that. But anyway, so same thing. You can add anything you want with the features tab. Do all sorts of things. If you have this armor on, like for example, we can say hard leather armor of, we'll say water blocking. Now you're gonna have trouble seeing all that in the name, because it could run off some menus depending on what your menu is gonna look like, and we'll capitalize that. But yeah, it could be hard leather armor of water blocking, and what we'll do is we'll say element rate water, and we'll say 50%. Now that means that any water spell or water element based attack or anything that targets the player wearing this armor will only hit for 50%, and that can be quite useful if you're fighting like something that's shooting water at you, or a mage that has water spells. Very good. So there's tons of things you can do. You can resist death. Well, that's very general, isn't it? Will resist poison or something like that. This could be a really powerful armor very quickly. You could do lots of things with it. And then again, your notes section. So we're going to do something fun. I think, yeah, we've set it so that he can pick up axes, or he can equip axes. He can equip general armor, and we've made a hard leather armor and a hand axe of testing, just so we can remember it. That's what I'll name it. Okay, so as you can see, I've got a blank map here, or whatever, nothing to talk about because there's some complicated stuff on here that I'm not going to talk about right away. But I'm going to teach you how to make a new map, how I did this, how I set this up, and you're going to right click on the practice RPG title or whatever you named your project, and right click on that and say new map. Easy peasy. In the map name you can name it whatever you like. We're going to name it testing map, and this is the name that will be given to us, okay, that we see in the editor. But some scripts, some add-ons can display the name of a map to your player, and in this case it will use the display name. So we'll name this, maybe this is a town called Argonia, something like that, okay, some creative flashy name that people like to read or sing about, whatever. Tile set. Now the tile set, you see this on the left, this will be a lot to talk about later, but this is your tile set. This is what you can place on the map, and you're going to pick your tile set that can go into this map. Where is your map? Is it in a field, exterior, interior, dungeon? Now keep in mind that this list is created just like all the other lists in this game, like your weapon type and armor type and things like that. So we can change this list later, add to it, modify it, whatever you like. But for now we're just going to pick, we'll say dungeon, okay? And width, don't worry about width for now, it's pretty self-explanatory. This is how wide it is, this is how tall it is, and this is in squares. Each square, if you're ever doing graphics design or imports, every square in this game is 32 pixels by 32 pixels. Now we'll talk about that more later, of course, but for anybody who knows what that means, awesome. If you don't worry about it, but this is the width and height, pretty self-explanatory. Scroll type, vertical loop or horizontal loop or both loop. That just means you can walk off the edge of the map and it will loop over, so the left side will start on the right side again if you keep walking, and you can choose which way your map will loop, vertical or horizontal or both, or no loop at all. And I like to use no loop at all, but I can show you in a bit what a loop would look like. Parallax backgrounds, I'll teach you more about that later. I don't want to get into it right now, so we're going to skip that for now. battle back, don't worry about that. Auto change BGM, don't worry about that. Auto change BGS, don't worry about that. Because I'm going to make a whole episode on just making maps, so of course we'll touch on that stuff later. Disable dashing. In your game, if the player holds shift, they can run faster, and you can check this box off if you're in a place where you don't want them to be able to run. And once again, encounters, don't worry about that. Steps average, don't worry about that. I'll just click OK, and you'll see this appear. Now this checkered nothingness, your player can't see that. That will show up as black to them, but they can't walk on it either. So if we look over on the left, you're going to see a lot of stuff, a lot of chips that you never saw before. Tile sets is what they're called. And to use them, you want to click right here on the Maps button. So if you click there, you now have the ability to click in here and draw them onto the board. Okay? So left click on them in the editor swatch. That's what I'm going to call it, the swatch. Left click. Make sure you're on the rectangle tool over here. I think it's the best to work with. You know, it really is. It's your all-purpose drawing tool. It's really fantastic. So we're going to do that, and we're going to click and drag. Woo! Alright. And you can do whatever you like, really. You can play around here. You can put water in it and do whatever you like. Maybe put a wall here. So looking right here, these ones are usually the tops of the wall if you can't really figure out what the picture is, and these are the fronts of the wall. So you see that, you see what that kind of looks like. I mean, this wall could come all the way down here. Whatever you want it to do. You could do fancy stuff like this. Oops. Oh, actually that kind of looked cool. Anyway, you can do all sorts of things. And I'll let you play with that, guys. You don't really need me to go through it all. You have your A, your B, and your C, and that gives you different layers. So A will always be on the bottom. You can't put an A on top of an A, it will just delete it like that. It will just get rid of whatever was there before and overwrite it. If you go to B, these things can be put on top of A tiles. So you'll see this, right? You can stack them. Okay? And you know, whatever you like. You can decorate your map however you want to. And cool. Okay? So anyway, map making is not the point of this at all. That's not what I'm trying to show you, even though I'm kind of having fun right now. So anyway, now I want you to click on this little blue man, the event. Okay? And I want you to right click anywhere where there's ground you can walk on. Your map is going to look different than mine, of course. And you're going to say set starting position, and you're going to click on the player. Okay? So your player will appear there like that, and this is where your player is going to start. The very first time you ever play your game, when you say new game, this is where he will start. Now this is not where he will appear if you were to walk off the edge of a map and onto a new map. That will be set separately. This is only where you start once. This will never be used after the start of the game, unless you have a weird script that uses it for some reason. Anything is possible with a little bit of Disney magic and scripting. But anyway, now we're going to right click somewhere where there would be a cool place to put a treasure chest. I'm going to put mine right here. I'm going to say quick event creation. I'm going to say treasure chest, and then we can get this little menu box. I've showed you this before, I think. Double click and pick a box that you like the looks of. Don't worry that it has multiple copies of itself, that doesn't matter. But we're going to pick I'm going to pick this wooden one here. Okay? And I'm going to put weapons in it, specifically the hand axe of testing. Okay? So that's all you do. You pick weapon and hand axe of testing and you say OK. Now it's going to appear right here when we start the game, but I want to put both my items in it, and so like both the items that we just created, the weapon and the armor. Right now we've only got the weapon. I'm going to right click, I'm going to say edit event, and in all this mumble jumble right here I'm going to see like a mess of things. You're going to see a sound effect, that's what that is, play sound effect, chest. Don't worry about that. Don't worry about set move route, you don't need to worry about that. You're going to see a control self switch, don't worry about that. Then you're going to see change weapons. Now what I want to do with that is double click on top of that. Okay, I double clicked. I'm going to see change armor right here under party. It's underneath change weapons and above change party. So change armor. And then I'm going to say we want a hard leather armor of water blocking or water fighting or whatever. That's number 4. And I want to increase it, and I want to increase that number by 1. We only want 1, okay? Now you can decrease it, you can take something out of your player's inventory, and I'll teach you about variables later. It's really complicated, so we'll dodge that for now, but we'll increase that by 1, okay? And we'll say OK. And so now you can see that we've changed the armor for the hard leather and the weapon for the hand axe, and now we have multiple items. And then you have a message here as well. It says hand axe of testing was found, but of course we found more than that, so we're going to right click and bring up this menu. We're going to say edit, and we're going to say well, shit, man. Lots of stuff. That's something, yeah. Okay. You can tell I'm not funny, so we're just going to skip that and click apply. We're going to say OK, and see this green arrow right here? We're going to click that, and that's going to test your game. You're going to save your changes, you have to, and then your game's going to pop up. You're going to say new game, and check this out. You should be able to walk around. You can't walk through any water. You can't walk through any walls, and I'll teach you why later in a different episode. Awesome. And you can go up to your treasure chest, you can press enter, and well shit, man, lots of stuff. And you don't know what that is, but if you press escape, okay, you go to equipment, and you click enter on Bastion. Look at this. You can change his short sword to his hand axe of testing. Yeah, awesome. And you can go down into body gear, and you can change his nakedness to hard leather armor of water blocking. Okay, so you can see that you definitely show up in the menu. If you have any trouble with what I've shown you in this episode, then put a comment in the comment section below. And yeah, guys, I'm excited to hear from you, and I'm excited to see that view count go up as all of you guys enjoyed this episode. I'll see you guys next time, alright?